and Zlatan to the rescue. Sanchez disappoints again. 3 bits of positive news, and no, it's not quite Christmas, so I won't do a partridge in a pear tree. But what we'll say is, I must just say this from the off before we talk about Zlatan. I do have a feeling of what I would say is tiresome frustration. Because I was listening to Talk Sport this morning, and I think it was Martin Allen saying that it's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault for the situation he's in. I'm sure he had a list of players that he wanted and he wasn't given them. And look, we all know this. We all bloody know this. We know the excuse of not getting the players that he might have wanted is an excuse. We said it at the start of the season. But if you have a boxing match and you are the underdog and you get in a ring in your bloody nighty slippers, waving a white flag and bending over, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. There is some culpability in relation to Solskjaer and his coaching staff in relation to the way they are sending us out. I totally agree that we basically went into this season with an underdog's fighting chance of getting into the top 4. But I would expect us to at least get in the ring and fight and show some nous and show some boxing tactics and throw a few punches. I think what's the problem is, yes, we have got an excuse. We are the underdog because of the lack of investment in the summer, but we're also getting in the ring with the white flag and a nightie on going, hit me. Hit me. That's what we're doing. And I don't agree with that. So, I hope people start to understand where I sit with that. But let's just say that this Zlatan Ibrahimovic story is quite interesting because there is a sort of feeling that Zlatan Ibrahimovic would come back to Manchester United in January. And there are some United fans that would take Zlatan over Mandzukic. How would you feel about that? I mean, Zlatan feels that he could still play in the Premier League. There is talk in the Telegraph that Manchester United will not go for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and I quote, because they don't want a short-term fix. What's long-term about Mandzukic being 34 in May and having probably 1-2 years tops in him? That is a short-term fix. So I think that there is a validity to choosing Zlatan or Mandzukic. And I just want to see in the live comments as I work through this, where would you go? Zlatan or Croatian Peter Crouch? No, seriously, Zlatan or Mandzukic? Because I think I might surprise you with where I would go. Buster Nut says, shout out to Marie. She loves you and Phil Jones. There you go, Marie. I like the fact that you like me, but the fact that you put me in the same category as Phil Jones is a little bit worrying. But look, Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Mandzukic, I'm going to shock you now. Could I just shock you for a moment? I would take Mandzukic, and I would, because Zlatan's done. I know he thinks he isn't done, but he's done. I saw him come back from his injury when we had him 2-3 years ago, and he was done then. But more importantly, I saw Zlatan before the injury, and I think time makes people see things differently. Time's a great healer, as they say. And if you go back to the United stand when Mourinho was in charge with Zlatan, before Zlatan got the injury and Zlatan scored all those goals, if you go back to that season, you will see in my match reviews there was quite a few times where I got frustrated with Zlatan, and a lot of you were saying Zlatan in the live comments, and to be honest with you, that was my initial reaction as well. And Tony Martial says Zlatan is a leader, get him in. A lot of people just saying Zlatan. If we get Zlatan, then we are definitely a banter club, says JB Music. But a lot of you are saying Zlatan, and I don't have a problem with that. But when I thought it through, I actually do remember when he was at United, and I did say this. I said, Zlatan missed a lot of chances that season. I know he scored a lot of goals, but he missed a lot of chances. But the most important thing that would make me not want Zlatan, and I vividly remember one particular game, but it happened a lot, was Bournemouth at home, and they literally had their back 4 on the halfway line. They were absolutely not scared of the ball over the top, and it made them press us right up into our own half. Why would we want Zlatan? There is assumption that Zlatan would come in and score goals, but how would we push teams back 4 back to get the best out of Zlatan? And also, I just don't think he's mobile enough. So it would be a big no from me for Zlatan for that reason. I think that, he said it himself. He wished he'd come to Manchester United earlier in his career. And I think at 38 years of age, he's 38, to come to Manchester United and solve our problems would be ridiculously short term. I mean, basically, if he came in January, you get 4 months for him. You're going to have him for another season when he's 39. it's just a no-go. It really is a fantasy, fantasy world. But I think when you look at a reality world, I don't want Mandzukic, but I think he's more mobile than Zlatan, and he's younger. So I would have to begrudgingly go Mandzukic, because I don't actually believe in my heart of hearts that Zlatan can do a job in the Premier League anymore. And I think the job he was doing for us was making us very easy to defend against. So for me, sadly, it would be a no. And I don't expect United to go for Zlatan. And I sort of think we need to move away from it. But you know what? I could have just gone with my initial thoughts and gone, yeah, let's get Zlatan back. He's a character. But I think, it's a bit like why I said last night, I'm a bit opposed to January transfer signings, because I think January transfer signings in their very nature are short-termism. They're desperate. And I actually would like to see... I'm not bothered about being patient. This is where people, I think, stumble along, because I don't mind being patient as long as I'm getting a vision, and I'm not getting a vision at the moment. I really am not. But I don't think Zlatan should be part of it, if I'm honest. As much as he's one of my favourite players of the last 20 years, I just don't think it would be right for us. Humi says, hey boss, from going full throttle youth in the summer to Dad's Army in January, am I dreaming? You think the league table is them rethinking philosophy? I don't think Ollie ever really did commit to the youth, to be honest. I think he spoke about it, but has he really gone with the youth in any Premier League games? No, not really. And that just reminds me, I just want to say as well, I think maybe later in the week I will do a combined Manchester United and Liverpool 11. But there's been a bit of controversy, a little bit of controversy today, because Danny Mills on Sky Sports did his combined Manchester United versus Liverpool 11, and it was all 11 Liverpool players. He's an ex-Man City crap right back, and he's full of shit, to be honest with you. Come on the show, Danny Mills, and I'll put you in your space, but you are full of crap. You only went to the World Cup because Gary Neville got injured, and you are bitter towards United. So, but look, he's wrong anyway. I mean, my combined 11 I will do later in the week, but look, reality, spade a spade and all that jazz. Liverpool are far better than us at the moment, but they don't get all 11 players in. No. I mean, they just don't. And actually, statistically, De Gea's having a better season than Alisson, because Alisson's been injured for all of it. Over the last 4 years, De Gea's been a better goalkeeper, so there's a debate to be had there. Maguire has been very, very consistent for the last 2 years. He's not Van Dijk level, but I think he could play next to him. Wan-Bissaka, Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't an easy argument, because one's a brilliant defender and one's brilliant going forward. And when it comes to the midfield, you're telling me Paul Pogba doesn't get in a midfield for Liverpool. So, there's a debate to be had there. It's not 11 for 11. Maguire and Pogba would get in, De Gea won't though, says Paul Taylor. But it's all subjective. Bit of positivity just in relation to that though. Manchester United apparently will have Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba and Anthony Martial fit for the Liverpool game. Liverpool have got Salah and Alisson back as well. So it's looking like everyone's going to have everybody back. Interestingly, Simon Stone, the BBC journalist for Manchester United, is saying that Martial will be back in training this week. I actually thought he was already back in training. So that leaves it a little bit tight. If Martial's only going to start training this week, this is what I was saying on Saturday night, I believe, that there is a big expectation around Anthony Martial, who's not played football for a month. He's not even back training yet. He's going to be back training this week. Will he even start against Liverpool? If he starts against Liverpool, will he even be match fit? A month is a long time to be out. So, but Pogba being back would be a big boost for us. And so will Luke Shaw. I mean, I know, Ashley Young's done okay at left back, but is he really the solution for Manchester United? Jordan Finley says, Mark, you're massive in Finland. That's what she said. Much love, mate. I'm massive in Finland. I've bloody made it. I tell you what, I want to be massive in Finland, Sweden, Norway, and the other Scandinavian country. I think I've just named the three. I think I've just named them. Denmark's not Scandinavian, is it? And I like Iceland as well. I've never been to any of those countries and I'd like to go there. So the fact that I might be massive there, well, a few people might know me, that would be nice. Let's look at it from a Glazer's point of view. Is Zlatan a shirt seller or Mandzukic, says Tushar Rainer? Exactly. That could be a point. And talking of Norway, Robbins Fixel says, I'm begging we get Haaland. You know what? I wouldn't say no to him. He's one for the future. We need a bit of strength in depth, and I think that sort of striker would be good. But I think that the rumour around Mandzukic from Italy today, actually, just to update you on Mandzukic, is that we will pay £9 million. I mean, we're actually going to pay money for Mandzukic. This makes me even more annoyed. I thought we were getting Mandzukic on a free. And I was like, I don't want Mandzukic. I don't rate Mandzukic. And he's 34 in May. I thought we were getting him for free. We're going to pay money for him. We're going to give him 9 million quid for him as well. So, you know, I don't want that signing. I don't want that signing. There's got to be a player who's a striker who's 6'3" and is aged between 20 and 25. That's what we should be going for, because if Ollie feels he needs a long ball option or a target man, why get Mandzukic for a year? Why not just go and get somebody who can be a target man for the next 10 years? Because we don't actually have that sort of striker. Whether you want that striker or not, for me, I'm a little bit cum-si cum-sa. But if we're going to get a target man, I would rather we got a target man who's 25, you know, who's going to be here for a few years, a bit of development in them. To go and get Mandzukic, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. Do we not need ready-made right now? More potential could sink us, says Paul Robinson. Interesting theory. Denmark is in Scandinavia, but you are very welcome, Mark, says Casper Sommer. It's official. Denmark's in Scandinavia. I was on the fence, but it is. It's finally moved. Haaland is a complete striker and an amazing talent, says Robbins FFXI. Yeah. Lukaku, says Andrew Moon. What about him? And Zlatan would be better than Rashford. Zlatan would make those runs in the box, and Rashford does not do that, says Jeffrey Goodski Evans. I think Zlatan will try and make those runs in the box. I think he might need a mobility scooter to do it, though. He's not. I would love to say, Zlatan, you're done. You're not a Premier League striker. I would love him to come in January and prove me wrong. But I don't see it. I saw him 3 years ago and I didn't think he had the pace to do it. I really don't think he's got the pace to do it now. I know a lot of you loves. I to be honest, I've never understood the Zlatan obsession with Manchester United fans. It's a bit like Berbatov. Berbatov was pretty shit in a United shirt and gets held up as this legend. No way. And Zlatan was here for 9 months and gets held up as this legend. No way. But in relation to Zlatan, Zlatan's one of my favourite players ever. I think it just, I love a personality. I love a personality, and in sport, it's a dying breed. Whether it's tennis, snooker, I used to love Alex Higgins. Tennis, people like John McEnroe, Andre Agassi, people like that. And Zlatan, in a game that is so serious, is a personality, and I love him for that. But I just do not see in a million years what he would offer Manchester United now, other than selling shirts. And the same goes with Honda. Ibrahim Ali, please. I disagree. Free Gold says Zlatan is a massive character and leader who would bring great positivity to the squad and gives us injury cover up front at least. Yes, it's short term, but he would improve the mentality. I'd be very surprised if we get for him, but if we did, I'd be excited. Anthony Packer. I don't really want to talk about that out loud because it's irrelevant to me, but yes and no. I would say yes and no. Zlatan score, Rashford not, says Kim Wright there. You know what? Can I be controversial again? I would rather have Rashford than Zlatan. I don't really get where the argument is about that. I think Zlatan is a bit like what's Zlatan like as an analogy, and what's Rashford like as an analogy. Zlatan's like a plate of caviar that's been eaten. It's gone. And Rashford's like beans on toast. If you're hungry, you eat the beans on toast. Zlatan is caviar, but it's an empty plate. It's been finished. So there's no point. Yeah, caviar's the better meal, but it's gone. It's been eaten. There's still a nice hot beans on toast there. It's not caviar, but you can eat it. Balotelli is a finisher. Belotti is a finisher, says Grandad 33. He is. Callum Wilson can be prolific if he signed for us, says Pete Squire. Oh, yeah, I mean, look, Callum Wilson's going to cost you, what, 60 million? What about our non-existent right wing, says 28 Divi? I know, you're absolutely right. Honestly, do you think Zlatan wants to come back to a Manchester United team of today, says Ramin? And actually, I don't know whether he does, because I think he's Team Mourinho, isn't he? He's Team Mourinho. Would I like Callum Wilson, Vashi? Not for the price that we're going to get quoted for him. My thing with Callum Wilson is that why don't Arsenal want him? Why don't Man City want him? Why don't Spurs want him? Why don't Liverpool want him? And why don't Chelsea want him? But why do Manchester United want him? Somebody said to me, very, very good point. This is going to blow your mind. And this is for the hardcore United standers who do watch the whole show. This will blow your mind, right? Manchester United sacked David Moyes because we didn't get top four. He only got 8 months in the job and we sacked him because he didn't get top four. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 6 years later, will not be sacked if we don't get top four. He will be given 2-3 years. Tell me our club's not going backwards. And it's the same thing with Callum Wilson. Does any top six side other than us want Callum Wilson? No, but we do. You see what I mean? Moyes got sacked, quite rightly, because he didn't get top four. 6 years later, we are rewarding managers who don't even dare tell us what this season's all about. Has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for 1 minute told us what this season's all about? Sir Alex Ferguson told us in August what this season was all about, winning the title. Ole doesn't even dare tell you what his aim is, because if he says 7th and gets 10th, he's failed. He doesn't dare tell you. And yet our board think that that's acceptable. You know, we'll sack David Moyes after 8 months. Quite rightly, for not getting top four. But we've now got a club that you can stay in post if you don't get top four. And we'll give you the job if you don't get top four. You can have another year if you don't get top four. And we're in for people like Mandzukic and Callum Wilson, who no other top six club will go for. We are a mid-table club in everything other than name at the moment. And that comes from the very top of the club. Humi says, at his peak, no one's better than Van Nistelrooy. Oh, he was a good player. Van Nistelrooy was fantastic. Matt Rush, Zlatan is not mobile enough anymore. Why buy a pensioner when we could go for a younger option and future thinking? And I do agree with you, Matt. I do agree with you much. And it's not disrespectful to Zlatan. He's 30 fucking 8. Zlatan is better than what we have, says David Hernan. I genuinely don't think you're right. I don't. I think you're reminiscing about somebody who isn't that player anymore. I mean, seriously, I could go and play up front in the MLS and probably score a couple of goals. Yeah, it's not great. Use your head, buy cheese from Fiorentina, says Rafael Vieira. We need Adama Traore from Wolves. We don't. Mr. Inconsistent. Nice shirt, Mark, says Sahil Shetty. Thank you, you sarcastic sod. I remember what you said last night. But if you want to get your United Stand shirts, they're selling like hotcakes. The link's in the video description. This is the t-shirt that's selling the most, this design at the moment. Adored, with the old Stone Roses design. Manchester is red. And the second best seller, and I want it to be the best seller, is the green and gold colours of Mancunia. Brilliant shirt. So the link's in the video description for those if you want to get them. They are doing well. What about Vardy? Says Francis Ward. Yeah, Vardy'd do well at United now, wouldn't he? I mean, Vardy would be short-termism. I mean, Vardy would be a bad signing because the minute he loses a yard of pace, he's in trouble, isn't he? Any news on Sancho? Says John Caroma. Yes, he doesn't want to come to United because we're shit. Breaking news. Thoughts on Poulsen, Mark from Leipzig, says Jesse Wagwan. I like Poulsen from Leipzig. He's very good on FIFA, but I don't know what he'd be like in real life. I do like Poulsen. I don't know why nobody gets linked to him. He's pretty quick. He's good in the air. Would he be good enough for the Premier League? Again, nobody's really been linked to him, but he's decent on FIFA. I wanna be ignored, says Craig Warby. I wanna be adored. Yeah, I know what you're going. I wanna. It does ship worldwide, Prince Israel. It does ship worldwide. We've got them going to Canada and everywhere. So thanks everyone who has bought a t-shirt. You can't replicate a manager of Alex Ferguson's calibre overnight. You need an experienced manager with a plan. Get out Stan Kroenke. And you know what? That is a very, very good point. There was a superb tweet from the United Stand, and I'm going to read it out to you. I didn't do this tweet, so I'm not even blowing wind up my own backside. But there was a tweet that went out on the United Stand Twitter, which is at United Stand MUFC if you've never followed it. And it says, never forget summer 2009 under the Glazers, right? This is why you can take this back longer than 6 years. We all talk about 6 years, but Sir Alex Ferguson was not mortal. You know, he was an immortal as a manager. He was on a totally different level. I remember Alan Hansen saying on Match of the Day, Sir Alex Ferguson is so good, you could put him in charge of any of the top four and that team would win the title. It was nothing to do with the squad that he had at United. It was the manager. And if you look at what happened in 2009 and you think that this board's been doing a job before Sir Alex Ferguson left that was adequate, in 2009, Tevez and Ronaldo left and we replaced them with Michael Owen, Antonio Valencia and Gabriel Obertan. That was abysmal. Ronaldo and Tevez go, Michael Owen, Valencia and Obertan come in. Don't talk to me that this board has only been bad since Sir Alex left. I remember summer after summer, No value in the market. Midfield, we never bloody invested in the midfield under Sir Alex Ferguson. And every year we'd get linked to Vidal, Schneider, all sorts of midfielders, and we wouldn't bring them in. So this board has been at it for years, longer than this last 6 years. Sebastian Haller would be a great striker, says Terja Metanit. He would have been, and he was available, and he went to West Ham. He would have been. You know, there's a striker that would have been very, very good for United. But no, we didn't do that. Tamer, I do like John McGinn. But I'll say what I said 2 months ago. When we were linked to him in the summer, I laughed. And I think I was right to laugh. But now I'm laughing on the other side of my arse because he looks like a good player. But he's got to keep doing it consistently for Villa. What was your first football game in a stadium, says Sahil Shetty? Well, my first United game was 1989, an FA Cup quarter-final. My first stadium game... I think my first stadium game would have been... I think it was Leicester. Against Forest. Yeah. Probably in 87 or something like that. So, yeah. Is Rebic still an option, says Big United Man. Everybody's an option for United. We can buy anybody. You'd be surprised at the quality of player that wants to come to our club. We can do anything in the transfer market. Alexis Sanchez is injured, by the way. I nearly didn't tell you. 3 months out with ankle ligaments. He is fast becoming the first, second, third, fourth and fifth worst signing ever. I mean, he is atrocious, isn't he? He's absolutely atrocious, and he's gone and got himself bloody injured. We're going to be stuck with that waste of space forever. So he's gone and got himself injured, which is fandabidosi, isn't it? Absolutely bloody superb. Kessie from AC Milan would be a good player. Francis Ward, I really like him. What about if we go for Piatek, the AC Milan striker? Says Abe Curry. I mean, we are basically we are very good. Give yourself a clap on the back. You are very good at identifying European talent that would be good for Manchester United. Unfortunately, our board is crap at it. You know, we spoke about Fabinho 3 years. For 3 years, we spoke about Fabinho before he went to Liverpool. There are loads of players out there that many of you have mentioned over the years of the United stand that have gone to other clubs and been fantastic, but United haven't gone for. I mean, you know, do you trust this board or manager or coaching or scouting set up to go and get decent players from abroad? I don't. I really don't. I think that we're very bad at it. I don't count Pogba as a foreign signing because he was previously a United player. Bailly could have been good. Injuries are let him down. Lindelof, jury's still out. Delot, very injury prone for a young lad. We bought him injured. I don't know what that was all about. Zlatan, well, everyone knows who Zlatan is. I mean, it's hardly a bloody scoop to get Zlatan, is it? Think the board has actual on-field expectations, says Kevin Barrett. I think the board wants their pie and eat it. They want the money in their pocket and they want success on the field. But it's very interesting. I mean, Harry Redknapp's a bit like, you never know what you're going to get with Harry Redknapp, is it? A bit like a box of chocolates. Which I've never liked that saying. I mean, I know it's not football related, but if you remember the film Forrest Gump, and he sits there and goes, "My Jenny, life's like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get." Well, you bloody do know what you're going to get, unless you're thick. If you buy a box of bloody Quality Street, you pretty much know what a green triangle is. You know, the gold ones are chewy. You know, the purple ones have got nut and caramel in it. You know, what's this nonsense? Life's like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. You're a bloody idiot if you don't know what you're going to get in a box of chocolates, because it tells you. You know, Stevie Wonder probably doesn't know what he's going to get when he has a box of chocolates, but if you've got eyes, you do. Do you think England will win the Euros? Says Eminem is the best. Well, I've done an early show tonight, so you lot can watch England at 7:15, but 8:15. But I ain't watching it. To be honest with you, I'd rather poo out my mouth than watch Liverpool, watch England. Should get in Big Sam, says Jacob Williams. Nothing would surprise me. But basically, what Harry Redknapp says, and as I say, sometimes he comes out with nonsense, but sometimes he comes out with sense. And Paul Robinson says, to be fair, Forrest Gump wasn't the sharpest. You're right. But with regards to Harry Redknapp, he said about Pochettino, he shouldn't go anywhere near Manchester United because he's got a better team at Spurs, he's got more stability at Spurs. And when you look at what's happened at Manchester United. David Moyes went there, they sacked him. He was a good manager and he got sacked. Van Gaal, Mourinho, now Ollie's struggling. You know, all these different managers have struggled at Manchester United. So why would a good manager want to go there? And I think Harry's right. But as I've said many a times, I think managers are egotistical. They think that their way is better than everybody else's. So I don't think that a decent manager would turn their back on Manchester United. And I wouldn't. If I was a decent manager, I wouldn't turn my back on Man United if they came knocking. That's surely what football's all about, that challenge. But I think the most important thing is, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to get sacked and we approached Pochettino or Simeone or Allegri or whoever, the most important thing I would say to those managers is, before you sign on the dotted line, you've got to get it in writing that you're getting 200 million the day you walk on the door. You can't just take the job in shock and awe and go, oh, I'm Man United manager, where's the money? There's none. That's the surprise. We've got a big surprise with you. You've got no money and you've got to keep Lingard and Jones. See you later. I'm off to the Maldives. And that's how it rolls at United, isn't it? So I think whoever comes in next has got to get it on the bottom line. And you know what? Just to go back to Ollie, because he is in place at the moment. We were all worried, weren't we? Let's be honest. We were all worried. And I'll come back to that in a moment. Solskjaer is a puppet right now. Sack the board, says Amy Savant. Southpaw Love Sport says, forgive me, but I've become so disenchanted with this board. I just have no will to get excited about potentially getting players anymore. You and me both, Mal. And Matt Rush says, have to agree with you, Mark. No point buying in January unless a real player becomes available. Not old, decrepit has-beens. Got enough of them. High five, Matt Rush. Virtual high five. But, yeah, just go back to what I was saying there. We did all worry about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, didn't we? I remember saying this, even when we were Ollie's at the wheel. We said the only concern with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is he's like us. We would love this job because we love the club, and regardless of our own skill level as a manager, we would still take the job selfishly because we love the club, and we would probably do this job for half decent wage. You know, Ollie will be cheap compared to most managers, but on top of that, he was, you know. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is managing Mulder, right? May as well be managing Mulder and Scully. They're that relevant. X-Files. But he's managing Mulder from Norway, right? Norwegian league. Does anybody bloody know anything about it apart from when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was, before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was managing them? No. So let's be honest, it's not a very, very good standard of league. He's managing there. He gets the Mulder's so significantly important to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he leaves the club to go and manage us for 4 months, because that's how much of a big step up opportunity it was. He does it well. They offer him the job. Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when Ed Woodward went, Ollie, I want to give you the job, do you think he went, I'll take that job, Ed, but only if you give me 200 million. Up yours, Ollie. You take the job and your budget's 50. Where do I sign? Because it's his dream job. That was always the problem. And even when we all wanted him, which we did, we can't lie about that. We wanted him, we were singing the song, but we all did say the only concern with Ollie is he's so desperate for this job, he'll take it on any terms. And I think he probably was. Whereas, if it had been a Zidane, or it had been a Pochettino, or a Laurent Blanc, they would have said, I'm very interested in the job, but what's my budget? And if Ed Woodward had went, 50 million, fuck off, Ed, I'm off. So, you know, that is the problem. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have took this job if they'd had offered him 10 million transfer budget, whereas a decent manager would have said, I need 200 million straight away. And obviously Ole didn't do that. But do you blame him? It's his dream job. He's gone from managing some Norwegian club to the biggest club in the world. He would have done it for free. He probably would have done it for free with no budget. Ibrahima John says, hello Mark, how do you rate Man United's South American scouting? Rafael and Fabio were gems and bargains. Should United go back to that market? Manchester United, I can tell you for a fact, Manchester United have got a very, very good scouting network. There is no doubt about that. Whether that scouting network gets listened to, that's the relevant point here, because United, there are plenty of stories from within the club and from ex-scouts and from ex-people who worked there that United for many years have been putting forward some very good players who've gone on to have very good careers elsewhere but have been ignored by the board. That's the problem. I don't necessarily think the scouting network's bad. It's a bit of a mixed bunch, but does it get listened to? A lot of scouts of Manchester United wanted Bruno Fernandes. One scout said, that, you know, his passing range is a little bit, you know, hit and miss, and they took it as that's a risk. Partey, Ibrahim Fafana says Partey should be poached before his contract rises from 43 to 87. Cavani, 25 million, has 6 months left at PSG and would allow Mason to grow. Ziyech, right wing, 25 million, has been Ajax Player of the Year for 2 years straight. Thoughts, please? I mean, look, let me just, you know what? I've never been a fan of Cavani. I've got to be absolutely honest with you. I've never been a massive fan of Cavani. But Cavani is 32. Yes, I'd take Cavani. At 32, I would take Cavani. He's 2 years younger than... He's 2 years younger than... a year, 18 months younger than Mandzukic. I would take Cavani. I mean, we're basically moving further and away from players that I don't want, but Cavani would be better than Mandzukic, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Bring Mourinho back. He was never the problem. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Aluafami and Duran. I could give you a list as long as my arm as to why Mourinho was crap. Even Mourinho says he should get sacked. Cavani is the Uruguayan Andy Carroll, says Quides Freitas. Andy Carroll on his day is quite a good player, you know. Bring Ronaldo back, says Fight Fan. Never going to happen. Fact is, we don't have anyone who can score 20 or more goals besides injury-prone Martial, says Paul Luke. I'll tell you what, Paul, I don't know whether that's inadvertent, but you've absolutely smashed the nail on the head there. And you can smash the like button and push us through 1,000, please. Please do smash the like button while we're live. We will be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Monday night, 8 o'clock's normally a call-in, by the way. There's no call-in tonight because of the England game. We're going to push it back to tomorrow night. So 8 o'clock will be the call-in. I want to do a call-in, but I want it to be done at the normal 8 o'clock slot. So 8 o'clock tomorrow night. But you have just hit the nail on the head there because I forgot what you said. I've gone off on a tangent and I don't know what Paul said. Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember what he bloody said. I'll have to go to another comment. The key is Wenger, says Lou's Adventures. It really isn't. And Arsenal have Pepe. We should bring back Pepe, says Kyle Black. Yeah. Do you think Allegri will ask for 200 million? I don't think he will, says Dipanshu Kumar. I think whatever happens at Manchester United, the next manager has got to be a hard baller. We need somebody who's going to come in and say, I'm only going to do this job if we get a lot of money. No manager. Eddie Howe is a real manager. Ollie is a postman, says Ian Simpson. Martial injury prone. Thank you, Moada. That is a massive thing for us over the next few months. Anthony Martial's my favourite player at Manchester United. His start to the season was exceptional. You know, the change in the player, the hold-up play, the intelligent running. But he does pick up a lot of knocks, and he's still relatively young. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to pick on Phil Jones and not pick on Anthony Martial. If Anthony Martial picks up another injury before Christmas and then another one after, you've got to start thinking about getting rid of him. Like, we can't have injury-prone players. You can't have it. Like, look at Liverpool. Salah picks up a knock and he's back. I know the international breaks helped him, but they're hardly ever injured. Their big players are hardly ever injured. United, it feels like half of our squad is injured every bloody week. So, I love Martial, but it's a big, you know, he needs to be back and he needs to be properly back. We can't have him back with niggles and stuff like that. He's got to be back, and I'm a little bit worried that Martial's injury prone. Bring in Van der Sar and the Ajax manager and keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the strikers coach, says Turbitoon. Yeah, I think the only way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is leaving is with his P45, which is the sack, to be honest. I would take Werner, Maddison and Fernandes, says Keegan Botha. I mean, wow. Timo Werner, James Maddison and Bruno Fernandes would be exceptional, wouldn't they? Exceptional signings. Doesn't matter what happens, says Edward Abrahams, as long as the Glazers are out the club, United will remain mid-table, as long as they are at the club, sorry. I think United play well, and when Martial, Rashford, Pogba are all on the pitch, but our problem is it's very rare all three are fit, says Jensel Damala. Remove Paul Pogba from the club, says Radwan. And I sign the Longstaff family, says Avika Sebazad. I would sign Ndidi from Newcastle. He's at Leicester. Allegri is another part of the bus merchant, says Zero Blade 57. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Allegri is part of the bus, but he's very pragmatic. I don't think he suits United, Allegri. I don't. But I do think we will get him if we don't get Solskjaer. I'm sold on Eric Ten Hag for the job, a football director and 200 million budget. This squad just can't get over the top. Says Ian Gathaker. All I want from Manchester United is a vision that we know is going to hopefully get us back where we want to be, and proper investment and proper releasing of players. There's talk of Mata and Matic going to Serie A. Good. Let's wrap them up and send them for Christmas. I just want a vision, and at the moment we're not getting that. Welcome to the United Stand Members Club, Sanuj Batla, and remember it's 1989, says random. Loads of people are obsessed with this 1989 thing. What are your thoughts on Thomas Muller, says the Fugitives? Past it, don't go anywhere near him. Ollie for Director of Football thoughts, says Tony Marcial. I think as a Director of Football, Ollie's done very well if you look at the recruitment and the removal of players. Where he's failing is on the pitch. We won't be getting Lozano, mate. He's just gone to Napoli, Illa United. Allegri is actually top class, says user 5556667. And would Ericsson sign for us? And would you like him, Mark, says Tim Walsh. I don't think Ericsson wants to come to Manchester United, to be honest with you. I think if he comes to United, it's about the money. I think he wants to go to Real Madrid. Would I take Ericsson? He's better than everything we've got, but I think there's better than Ericsson in the market. And I think if we do get Ericsson, we don't get Maddison. So if you're offering me Maddison in the summer or Ericsson in January, for me, it's Maddison in the summer. I think, we get told about patience. We get told about a long-term vision. You're telling me we're going to get Ericsson in January and not wait 4 months to get Maddison. I think top four will be gone in January anyway. So what would Ericsson be brought in to do? So for me, I would rather wait for Maddison. Anna Palyapan says we are slowly linked with Haaland, the Norwegian striker. He has the Ollie connection, is smashing goals for fun, would cost less than 40 million. Would you take him over anyone? Anna, I like the look of him. Didn't he only move in the summer to his new club though? So Salzburg. So I don't think he would be available after just 6 months, if I'm totally honest with you. Memphis Depay, we've got a buyback clause. We should exercise it, says Brad Payne. Big risk with a big character and attitude. Bruno Fernandes in January, says Roy Law. Look, I've told you what I think about Bruno Fernandes, and I will tell you now. Bruno Fernandes is the player we should have got in the summer. Bruno Fernandes is the player we were going to get in the summer, and Bruno Fernandes is the player we bottled getting in the summer. I cannot invest another minute in Bruno Fernandes because you'll never know how close we were to signing him anyway, and we didn't do it. So even if every outlet in the world starts saying we're signing Bruno Fernandes in January, I will not believe it until he's holding the shirt up, because he was meant to be holding the shirt up in the summer and we bottled it for some stupid reason. So I don't expect Bruno Fernandes to come to United. If it did, it would be Christmas. It would be Christmas in January, but I just don't think we will do it. I don't. And I think we've missed the boat on that one, and that boat has sunk in relation to United. But I'd love it to happen. I think he's going to be brilliant. I think he will come to the Premier League. I think he'll go to maybe Chelsea, maybe Spurs, maybe Liverpool, maybe even Man City. But wherever he goes, I think he'll be a revelation. And we blew it. We scouted him all last season. The deal was there to be done, and we bottled it. So if we can pull it off now, great. But I don't expect it. I think it's gone. Havertz, the boy, is gold, says Abdullah. I think he is. I think Havertz and Werner are very, very good, but I expect them to go to Bayern Munich. I think it's very, very hard to get hold of German talent, to be honest with you. Please do smash a like on the video. We're nearly at 1,000 likes. Yes, you can get your t-shirts. The link are in the video description. Green and gold until it's sold is my personal favourite, but the Adored t-shirts are doing very well as well, as are the United We Stand and the 1999. People want us to do a 1989, but the 1999 has got the 3 trophies we won in the holes. If I do 1989, I'll just have to put Ollie's smiling face in there saying, "Give me." We could do 1989. Give me time, and then put Ollie's face in the 9 and the 8s and the 9, and give me time. Remember 1989? Okay. Love the shirts, boss. Nice original designs. Anything more to be added? Caps, scarves, mugs, etc. Watch this space, Humi. We have got some stuff to be added. But yeah, we've just released the initial 6 designs. So check them out. The link's in the video description for the t-shirts. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. But remember, 1 o'clock. It's I nearly said it's the Zlatan and Rant show. Imagine how good that would be. It's the Flex and Rant show. I've got Zlatan on the mind. Anupalyapan says, you've got a point, Maddison over Ericsson, but we are sinking fast, and if we end up not buying a midfielder on January and finish 7th or 8th, Will anyone come in the summer? But you can't say we're long term and then go short term. And Sam Brown says get Paul Mitchell for director of football and then he can hire Julian Legalsman. We will also struggle to sign top players from now on. They do not want to come. We need a whole change at the club, but at least we're getting back to where we need to be. Hi Mark, how likely is it that Zlatan comes back, says Bashir El Sawaf. Look, if you want Zlatan back, I can't kill your dreams. It could happen with this club, but for me, I don't think it will happen. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon. Link in the video description for the t-shirts. Smash a like and I'll see you tomorrow. Really good show, really enjoyed it, really good flow, really good conversation. I'll speak to you tomorrow.